marathon series. As part of our marathon, we have chosen BPT as our first topic, and we have completed 2 sessions already in BPT, covering the setup that is needed to define a process, then human activity. Yesterday we saw about task box, and also we saw about some of the default system entities around process that will help you understand the concept of process and activities better. In today's session, we shall be seeing about the next activity, which is the automatic activity. Okay, before getting into the automatic activity, I would like to quickly warm up on the topics that we covered, not the topics as such, but the context or the stages an expense report goes through. So when an expense report gets created, when you click on generate expense report, it gets created with a new state. Then when the end user or the employee fills the expense and submits it, it may changes to the submitted state. Once the first level approver, who is the manager, approves the expense report, it moves to the processing status. And once the manager approves, and once the finance person approves the expense report, it moves to the approved status. Rejected, we shall be seeing at the next part, on part 2 of the marathon series. Okay, but yeah, in the meantime, if anyone rejects, then the expense report moves to the rejected status. Now, after approved, this is the most important part, which is as soon as the approval is provided by the finance team, that amount can be reimbursed to the concerned employee. This is the final step. Okay, now in this particular step, I don't have to log into a system and click on reimburse. No, approval has been done, right? Both the manager and the finance person have approved the request. Now it's like whoever had raised this request, just go understand what is the bank account and send the amount to that bank account. That's it. So this part has to run automatically. As soon as I approve it, the amount has to get reimbursed. So that this piece of the flow does not need any human intervention. It has to run automatically. So what should happen when a request or when an expense report gets approved? It has to be reimbursed. So I need to run a logic automatically once an expense report is approved. So let's see how to do it. So this is the process we have defined. The first 3 steps will be submitting the report. You need an employee to fill the expense and click on submit. And the second, the first level approval, it needs the manager to click on approve or to click on reject. And the second level approval involves the finance person to click on approve or click on reject. Now the fourth step is to reimburse, okay, to the employee with the amount that he or she has asked for in the expense report. So for that, we will be dragging and dropping this activity called automatic activity. Let me provide a suitable name to this activity called reimburse. Now the properties of the automatic activity are name, description, label, start date. So if you do not want the automatic activity to be available as soon as the finance person approves, then you can define a start date. Say finance person approves on a certain day, the reimbursement should happen only after 2 days. Imagine if you have a scenario where as soon as the finance person approves, you are doing a manual check, okay, whether this person has taken any leaves, or you would like to just check, or have an interview with the employee asking when was this expense spent. So if you have certain steps that for which you would need 1 or 2 days time, then only after that, you want the amount to be reimbursed, then what you can do is you can set the start date of this activity as 2 days after the day of approval. Okay, and today, if the approval has happened today, then from today add 2 days. Okay, so how can you do it? Simply go here, go to expression editor. You have many built-in functions. Just add days from today add 2 days. This should be the logic. So if you define this way, then this activity will not be available for the process to take up immediately as soon as the expense report gets approved. It will be available only after 2 days from the day of approval. Okay, but in my case, I don't want. I want this activity to be immediately available as soon as the finance person approves. Okay, so these are the properties associated with the automatic activity. Now, where can I define the logic? Okay, I've dragged and dropped automatic activity, but where will I define the logic of reimbursement? The answer is you simply double click on the activity. When you double click on the activity, it will typically open a server action for you. It's nothing but a server action. Now, automatic activity, since it's a server action, it has a timeout and it has a timeout of 5 minutes. So do not have a very lengthy logic defined as one automatic activity. If you feel it's going to take some time, then split that automatic activity into 2 to 3 automatic activities. That way you don't end up timing out the request. So the timeout is 5 minutes, and inside this automatic activity, I am going to call the logic to reimburse the expense report. So I already have a server action defined to reimburse. Let me call this server action reimburse expense report. Now, as soon as I call the server action, it is asking me for an input parameter. Okay, if you want me to reimburse, just let me know the expense report ID, which you want to reimburse. So let me open what value should I pass? Of course, expense report ID, but before choosing it, I would like to show you what properties are in scope from the automatic activity. So from the automatic activity, you will be able to access the input parameter of the process, okay, which is added automatically as soon as you define the launch on property. Then you will have access to these properties of the human activity or the previous activities, be it ID of this activity, closed by, in the sense who closed this. Okay, was it automatically closed due to a timeout, or is it like somebody has actually approved it? So you will get to know all that. Closed instant, when was it closed? Okay, this is going to be the same for second level approval as well. But you have an additional property called skipped. So skipped property will tell you if this activity was skipped or not. Since you had set the skip property of second level approval human activity to be true, you're getting an additional property called skipped. Then submit the report, yeah, the same set of activities. You have activity ID, okay, and oh, hello. Okay, okay, sorry, yeah, okay. 1 minute, team, I'm really very sorry. For how long has this been happening? Okay, 9:36. Okay, okay, no problems. Thank you so much. Sorry for the miss. Let me reshare. Is Service Studio visible to all of you? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Really sorry for the inconvenience. Let me repeat whatever I was saying so far. So I was just showing the process. I believe you were not able to see Service Studio ever since I started sharing Service Studio. So let me quickly repeat. I was just explaining the human activities, okay, the process. So in the reimburse automatic activity, these are the properties associated with the automatic activity reimburse. Okay, one would be name, description, label, and start date. So start date is nothing but when are you planning to start this activity? Either if you leave it empty, then it will be available immediately as soon as the previous activity completes. Otherwise, if you want, you can define an expression, okay, which is add days of current date, comma, 2. Okay, but I want this activity to be available immediately, so I'm just going to leave this property empty. Then if you double click on the activity, you will be taken to a server action. So automatic activity is nothing but a server action. So when you double click on the automatic activity, it will open a server action to you. So in the server action, you can add any logic. So in this case, the logic to reimburse the amount, right? That I need to execute. Now, since this is a server action, it has a timeout of 5 minutes. So make sure you have automatic activities that you're very sure that it will complete in 5 minutes. Otherwise, if you feel it's going to take a while, it's going to take longer than 5 minutes, then split that automatic activity into 2 or 3. So I have the reimburse logic defined in a server action called reimburse expense report. So let me drag the server action and drop it here. Now in this, I have this server action is asking me for the ID of the expense report to which the amount has to be reimbursed. So let me assign the expense report ID. So if you see here, the process has an input parameter. This input parameter got created automatically when I set the launch on property of this process. Okay, so the answer here is yes, to expense report ID, I will be passing the expense report ID input parameter of the process. But before that, I would like to show you the parameters that are accessible from the automatic activity. One is the process input parameter. The others are properties associated with the previous activities. So there are three human activities. So for a human activity, these are the different properties associated. Be it activity ID, the ID of the first level approval activity. So we saw activity entity yesterday, right? So activity definition entity will have first level approval, but activity entity will have first level approval. There will be many records for first level approval and activity entity, because one activity for every process instance, you will have its own set of activities, right? So for process instance 500, you will have three activities: first level, second level, finance, submission. First process number 501, you will have again these three activities, correct? So the ID of that activity for that particular instance is provided here. Then closed by means who closed this human activity. Was it a person, was it a user, or was it automatically closed due to a timeout? Then closed instant, when was this activity closed? So you'll find all these properties. These three are going to be common for all the other two. I mean, all three human activities. But the second one has an additional property called skipped, because for this activity we had set the skip property to no yesterday. Sorry, skip property to yes yesterday. That's why we have an additional property. With this property, we will be able to understand whether the activity was skipped or not. Okay, I have. Oh, okay. Is expression editor visible? Guys, 1 minute. I'll just correct my screen share. Window. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let me open expression editor and an expression editor. Right. So you are seeing these properties, right, in expression editor. Earlier you were not able to see, so now you should be able to see. Now for second level approval, you will find an extra property called skipped. Other than that, all the three properties are going to be the same. Then you have activity ID, identifier of the process activity instance. Runtime, datetime, identifier of the process activity instance is runtime, identifier of the process instance at runtime. So process itself is an activity. So this will have the process activities runtime, and process ID is nothing but the ID of the process. Okay. So let me set expense report ID. It's a value that I need to pass to the reimburse server action. Now let's change the status. If this server action runs successfully, then reimbursement has successfully happened. So let's update the expense report status to reimbursed. Expense report, create or update, drag this action and drop it here. Now, yeah. 1 minute team, not this. You have another action called expense report change status. Use this. It's asking for two details. One is the ID that we already have. Second one is the status. So the expense report would have been in the approved status. Now that we have reimbursed, it should move to the reimbursed status. That's all. So this is a logic that I would like to define as part of reimbursement. Let's publish. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Let's publish and let me open Service Center in the meantime. Open process log. Okay, we have successfully published. Let's open the solution. Now let me create a new expense report for John Mayer. These are the current expense report instances. Let me click on new expense report. Okay, let's refresh. A new instance has been created. Now I'll add expense. Vehicle. Save. I've added the expense. Let's submit the report. Lessee. Submit the report. Go here, refresh. Yeah, let me go inside this active process instance. Submit has been done. Next, lessee has to log in and approve. Let's log in as lessee. I see the task. Let's approve. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, let's log out. Let's log in as the finance person. From the task box, let's go to the approve. Approve. Okay, let's quickly refresh. See, it's created. Reimburse, it's created. Now, if I again refresh, it closed. So it's an automatic activity. It automatically runs. So it has run, it has changed the status, and then the process has succeeded. Okay, so this is all about automatic activity. Now we will go for an actual process only when you have a combination of human activity involved and automatic activity involved. But if you only have an automatic activity involved, there is another way of implementation, which is light BPT, about which we will cover sometime later. Okay. But yes, this is all about the automatic activity in a process flow. Now, I also would like to highlight that whatever I'm covering as part of this session is clearly provided in the OutSystems guided path. So let me show you where. This is the guided path. Okay, asynchronous capabilities in OutSystems. Now, if you scroll down, you will have a section called building your first business process. Expand it. You will find the expense report quick start file. And in every section, you will find the scenario, a quick start file, and a detail on how to complete that exercise. For every activity, you will have an exclusive exercise. So I am referring to this. I am leveraging the material provided in this guided path for this series. So you can very well go refer to this and use this guided path course, download the OAP, and you can mimic whatever I am doing in this session. Okay, you won't find a better option. And there are certain things additionally covering, like be it the process entity or on the first day we also had a lot of things to cover on process setup, right? So some things are additional, but the exercise that I'm showing you, the demo that I'm showing you is there, exactly is there in the guided path. So you can very well leverage this. Okay, that's all, guys. That's all for today. And tomorrow we shall be starting with conditional start. So I would like to wrap today's session. So since we have time, maybe I can take 2 to 3 questions. Do you have any questions? Okay, I've received a lot of DMs. Okay, so if there are no questions, I would like to wrap today's session, and the recording for yesterday, I'll make sure to upload it to the event page now. Okay, it will be available in the event page, and it will be announced in LinkedIn. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. Requesting all of you to please be there on tomorrow's session as well. Okay, thank you. Thank you once again. Have a great night. Thank you.